if the parents don't overly involve, but let the child face the challenges. The child is learning to problem solve and he's learning resilience.
We as parents, sometimes when a child cries, we rush, we hug, we cuddle, we give them so many gifts and so on. But in fact, I feel that's a wrong way to do.
Parents can allow the children to fail, get up from there, and learn from the process.
As parents, it's extremely important to be firm once in a while. And that's how a child conditions himself to the environment.
Allow your children to fail. In a world that is becoming increasingly more and more stressful, the ability to cope mentally and emotionally in a crisis situation and then to return to a pre-crisis situation with relative ease is truly an important pillar in thriving in this extremely hyper-stimulated environment. The school years of a child's life are truly the building blocks, and this is exactly the quality that is going to hold them in good stead. Our episode today really highlights the importance of building resilience in early years and also looks upon how it not only helps with academic pressure but will also help them go through very stressful situations in their growing years. Hello and welcome to Guidecast, an initiative of Narayana Educational Institutions. Narayana Educational Institutions is truly committed to the development of its students and their dreams, because at Narayana, your dreams are our dreams. My name is Shezi, and joining me is Vijay Lakshmi ma'am with a vast career of 25 years. She is also the Chief Welfare Officer at Narayana, where she has crafted some truly impactful mental health programs. I bid you a very warm welcome, Vijay Lakshmi ma'am.
Thank you, Shazi. It's a pleasure to be here again with you.
Also joining us today is Mrs. P. Sharni. She is a director at Narayana Educational Institutions. With her enhanced experience and leadership in the education sector, she is really going out of the way to enhance academic excellence and create and foster a supportive learning environment for both students and faculty alike. She is also a certified hypnosis master practitioner and a TEDx speaker. Sharni ji, a very warm welcome to you.
Thank you so much.
Ma'am, are you noticing that now more than ever there is a growing need to build resilience in our children?
I totally agree with you, Shazi. We see, children are lacking coping skills. When I say coping skills, they don't want to make that additional effort, or they do not want to go that extra mile. They give up easily on things, or they do not also want to adhere to norms. Now, we can't blame the child alone in this, right? The environment also has a lot to play. When I say environment, the society, the family structures. What we are noticing is in our interactions that we have with the students, a lot of things are getting compromised, like, the tangible things, the quality time that can be spent with the child, or, the conversations that can be happening, they are getting compromised with the materialistic things. And this is leading to a hedonistic behavior. When I say hedonistic behavior, it's about that immediate gratification, right? So it's more important now than ever for parents and educators to collaborate and help the child build the necessary skills which helps them in life. So that doesn't mean that we need to deprive the child of the material things, but how do we balance out for what is necessary so that we create an environment for them where they can thrive and learn the necessary skills for life.
So just because you can afford materialistic things is not a substitute for the quality time that you can spend with your child, right?
Yes, Shazi.
This one's for you, Sharni. In your day-to-day interactions, there is a lot of students that you meet, I'm sure, right? I'm sure there are a whole bunch of very interesting interactions. Would there be any particular anecdotes that come to mind that you would like to share with us?
Yes, there are so many. One most interesting part of the student conversation is I get a lot of learning and knowledge. At the same time, it also gives a student and myself a chance to understand where am I in life and what do students really need. I have come across students who are sensitive. I have come across students who are super ambitious. At the same time, I have come across students who are struggling. For them to have a right mindset, we have curated a program that is called Safalta Ka Rasta. This is especially exclusively for the 10th grade students, and this happens right prior to the examinations, so that it's more of a stress relief we take them through a process of visualization, affirmations, breath work. And I also explain them one important technique that can change their life and that can help them attain their goals. So I had a conversation with one child and it was very interesting. At the end, I got a lot of satisfaction and it somewhat triggered my thought process also. So the child was not confident. We give them a questionnaire. It's more of a self-reflection questionnaire. It has questions like, where am I right now? Where do I have to be? And on a scale of 1 to 10, rate myself. How happy am I in life? And so on. So the student said, I'm not confident. And I asked him, why are you not confident? Is there something bothering you or stopping you? And then he said, I'm conditioned that way. And I said, by whom? He said, by the society, by my parents, and by my friends. I was puzzled for a second and I asked him, can you rethink about what happened? So I took him through a process. I triggered his mindset and ultimately I gave him few affirmations that can make him confident enough. And once he started repeating those affirmations in a level 10 energy and on a even high pitch, then he actually was confident. I could see that sudden transformation in his mindset and in his thought process. And finally he said, thank you, ma'am, you changed my life. And I think that was the biggest satisfaction that anyone can ever receive.
Yeah, it's okay.
I really liked, where the child's trust was built. And I think when he said he was not confident, and then how in the process that, belief was given, and then how that changed the narrative for the child.
That can go a long way, huh? And cultivating that periodically is a great stepping stone to building resilience, is it not? Sharni, this one's for you. You're a mum yourself and of a child in their formative years. Are there any things, any techniques that you are using to build resilience in your child, your son?
Yes. I always wanted Aryan to be independent. In fact, my child to be independent. So I make sure once he comes back home from school, if he's playing, he has to clean up his mess or he has to complete his homework every day. He has to eat at the dining table every day. So there are few practices that I follow and I really stick to that. Maybe initially it was very harsh for him to adapt to it. But ultimately, once I was firm, and I think as parents, it's extremely important to be firm once in a while. And that's how a child conditions himself to the environment. So I make sure I do that. I still remember one incident which happened during Aryan's sports day. Aryan came second. He was irritated. He was frustrated. He started crying. And he thought I would pamper him. I would say, okay, I'll buy you something and so on. But I didn't do that. I just gave it some time. I said, let him cry, it's okay. And we as parents, sometimes when a child cries, we rush, we hug, we cuddle, we give them so many gifts and so on. But in fact, I feel that's a wrong way to do because crying is good. In fact, it's more of your body venting out that stress. So I let Aryan cry and I explained him. In fact, I explained him for a couple of days till he understood if you really want something, you should not give up. And it's okay to fail. It's okay to come second. That's how you will learn in life and that's how you'll master life. Maybe it was harsh on my part to tell him in such a way, but later he understood and now he's happy.
In fact, you said maybe it's harsh, but ma'am, isn't discipline the stepping stone to, building resilience? Like she said, there are non-negotiables. He has to eat his dinner at the dining table. He has to do his homework, clean up his room and all that. Doesn't that go a long way? That's part of it. And the other thing is, are there any other techniques that parents can employ?
Okay, so before I answer this, I really like to appreciate, the little things that Sharni is doing. It's practicing at home for the child to build up the required coping skills. And if you realize, Shazi, for the child, the world begins at home. Now that is where they learn how the personality gets built, or how they shape in future, right? How they take of life also begins there. Now these small things, if the parents don't overly involve, but let the child face the challenges. So that is where the parents also find it difficult. So, and it is through these small efforts the child is learning to problem solve. The child is learning, from the struggles of his life, how to cope from that, right? And he's learning resilience, right? So it's not about big steps, but it could be small steps where parents can allow the children to fail, get up from there, and learn from the process. So it's all learning, and what parents can give, or I would say the parents need to give them the space so that they're learning to be independent right from a very young age.
Allow your children to fail. What a brilliant point. Thank you for sharing that. Ma'am, I want to take a look at this Raja Beta, Papa Ki Pari phenomenon. Do you really think this helps the child in the long run?
To answer your question directly, I would say no. Why? Because when parents address their kids with these titles, my child is the best or you're great, so that a lot of their weaknesses gets covered in these labels, and the child is also unintentionally reinforcing these beliefs that they are the best. And when that happens, they're not able to see the areas that they will have to improve, or areas that they'll have to be working on. And this is also making them develop a false sense of themselves, right? So in these cases, also the child is developing a sense of grandiosity, right? So most of the time, we as psychologists, we believe that pampering does more damage.
That makes sense, actually. In fact, grandiosity and building resilience don't really go hand in hand, do they, ma'am? Right. Charity, do you think there is a correlation between building resilience and academic performance?
I completely agree there is a correlation. In fact, let me give you my own personal example. As a child, I felt I was not so good with academics compared to my siblings, whom I thought they were extraordinary. Somewhere, I used to tell myself, and I used to ask myself, why was I not good? Is there something lacking in me? But that negative thinking made my self-confidence even more low, my self-esteem even more low. And ultimately, I understood myself once I started exploring life. I understood myself once I started trying new opportunities, looking at the outside world, once I started getting exposure. So one practice that I really stick to is making my foundation extremely strong. If you really want to excel in something, you should make your foundation strong, whether it's academics, whether it's anything, wherever you are right now. You need to acquire that knowledge, that skills. So what I do is every day, I started doing a lot of self-reflection. Where am I right now? Where should I be in the future? What does it really take? And do I really want to be that version of myself? So every day I sit down for 1 hour, no matter how hectic my schedule is at the end of the day, and I compare myself. And my goal is that I have to improve at least 0.05% of who am I right now. And that practice really gave me an advantage over others, advantage to assess myself, where am I? And ultimately, my confidence levels grew up. And once my foundation has become strong, I really know what am I doing right now and what I really want in life. I think it's a process that takes you through, and definitely academics is 100% related to every aspect.
Ma'am, would you like to add on to what Sharani just said from a psychological perspective?
Definitely, Shazi. When we encourage children to embrace academic challenges without defining their self-worth by it, it helps them build resilience. Right? In the process, what they also learn perseverance, they also learn to put in effort, they also understand that failing is part of learning process. So all this helps them in a more learn skills in a more balanced approach, which prepares them for life.
My golden lines from ma'am's mouth for this episode are: allow your children to fail, please. We're coming close to the end of our conversation for today, ma'am, and a question has come in from a parent and I would like for you to answer. They are saying that my child gets very restless if she is not given what she wants immediately. How can I teach her patience so that she can be more resilient?
Most of the time, Shazi, what happens is the child's behavior is an outcome of the parenting at a young age, right? So over here, when the child is young, usually parents tend to give whatever the child asks, And from 18 months onwards, the children develop, their own thinking. And then they're smart. They can start playing tantrums when they're not given anything, right? So for it to be corrected, the parent can now try and understand where these tantrums have occurred from, and also observe, are these tantrums occurring only at home, or are they happening elsewhere as well? And then accordingly take the corrective measures. When I say corrective measures, first, for example, helping the child understand age appropriate behavior, like what the parent is expecting and then how the child is behaving. Teaching the child to wait, right? So all this helps the child to not throw tantrums. If this persists, or if the age, we do not know the age in this case, if the child is grown up and then they are still used to these tantrums, maybe it's good to seek professional help for the parent to understand where this behavior is coming from.
This is a new thing for me. 18 months onwards, ma'am, the child, my daughter's 2, and now I have things to make note of. Thank you for that. Thank you. And with that, we come to a close, not just for this particular episode, but also this season. And this has been a wonderfully informative chat. I am so grateful to the both of you all for coming over here and sharing your expertise, your insights into how important it is to build resilience and how it can go a long way, not only in academic pursuits, but also in dealing with day-to-day stressors in a child's growing stage. Thank you so very much today for your time, Sharni.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure being here today. In Narayana, we make sure the child is given the required support, the child is given the required care. It's not only about academics, but it's about creating that atmosphere, and it's about balancing both academics and non-academics. So we ultimately create a holistic environment for the child to develop into a better citizen of tomorrow. At Narayana, we strongly believe that your dreams are our dreams.
Ma'am, this is a wrap on our season. 8 seasons, 8 episodes together. How are you feeling?
It's been quite a journey, Shazi, and the range of topics we were able to cover in the parenting series, helping them be better parents and then have a better understanding of what is going through in the child, right? So that was a journey and learning for myself as well. And the response that we've got for the podcasts had also been huge, right? So it's a journey, a learning phase for all of us, and this journey continues to be.
Lovely. In fact, on behalf of Narayana Educational Institutions and our wonderful guests over here, I do want to say a special heartfelt thank you to you for actually, appreciating this podcast so much, for sharing your valuable thoughts, your insights, and of course for viewing as well. And we hope to come back stronger and better in our next season. Thank you for joining Guidecast, where we are dedicated to helping you understand and support your child's journey to success and fulfillment. With insights from Disha, the mental wellness program by Narayana Educational Institutions, a beacon of educational excellence for over 4 decades, we aim to empower parents and students alike. Remember, at Narayana, your dreams are our dreams.